Welcome to the Awakened Human Podcast, the place to be for highly progressive, yet extremely grounded intuitive guidance, energetic support, metaphysical tools, and higher consciousness for highly successful, ambitious, soul-centered visionaries and leaders like you who want to make a global impact and achieve your highest fulfillment by aligning with your soul's true divine agenda and your role in God's plan of lighted creation, and by utilizing your divine gifts, talents, and abilities from the higher realms. We do this by working with the non-physical realms of higher guidance, energy, intuition, and powerful metaphysical tools for healing and transformation. We understand that the real change and transformation that's being called for on planet Earth and in our own lives and our own businesses doesn't come from outside of us, but rather from within. And that the change that we desire to experience in our lives and in our world requires us to change from the inside. I'm your host, Lori Ann Spagna. I'm a best-selling author, spiritual catalyst, intuitive, energy worker, ascension guide, multidimensional channel, animal communicator, visionary, lightworker, and luminary. I have dedicated my entire professional life to helping thousands and thousands of humans and animals all over the world in service and contribution to the light, which is the expansion, the upliftment, the evolution of humanity, to awaken, to uplift, and to align with our true divine source, which exists within each and every one of us. It is my passion, joy, and purpose to share this information, energy, and consciousness with you. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing time with me. Let's get started.
Well, hello and welcome, all of you beautiful, magnificent beings. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up and participating. It's my great joy to be with you today. I'm your host, Lori Spagna. We're going to chat today about something that, wow, I love this topic. It's what most channels don't know and likely don't know and won't tell you. So, all right, for all of you evolutionary leaders out there and those of you who love the channels, especially, for example, Abraham Hicks or Abraham Bashar, other channels like that, this is what you're not going to hear from them, and that they likely don't know themselves and likely certainly won't tell you because they don't know it. All right, let me start with Abraham and Abraham Hicks. And I understand this is going to be somewhat controversial, so please forgive me if I do any button pushing. As always, know that your buttons are yours and you are responsible for them. It's not my problem or mistake if your buttons get pushed. And I apologize if that sounds insensitive of me. It's just that that's what the light does. It tends to push buttons, especially when we're breaking through barriers or boundaries of things that we formerly believed to be true, real, right, or accurate. And if we want to up level and become more conscious, we're going to sometimes get our buttons pushed. It happens. Never really feels that good. All right. And let me also say, I'm not here to poo-poo on anybody. I want to just be clear that most channels out there are bringing forward some kind of beings from the astral realm, and they don't really know it. Now, before we go into this, I want to tell you how I first started to become aware of this. Many, many years ago, probably at least 10 years ago. And let me even go back a little further than that. When I started on my awakening journey, I was really into Abraham Hicks. Back then, nobody knew who they were. I mean, I don't think people knew who they were, really. They were not like out there, right? I mean, Ask and It Is Given was, I think, maybe the only book they had written, or maybe I don't remember, but it was like not well known. And I remember listening to that and loving it. I mean, it's so positively uplifting, right? To get this message of like, just be positive all the time. Be positive and everything good will come to you. Always be positive. Just decide when you're paying the tax collector and the taxes are ripping you off and stealing from you and lying to you, be positive and just decide it's going to be used in ways that are positive and for the good of all. And it really did help me. Like all of that, it's love and light stuff. But what happened was after I don't know, maybe 10 years of listening to that, I started to get really frustrated and really annoyed because I was like, I'm being all positive all the time, almost all the time, to the best of my abilities, and I'm still freaking stuck. And I mean, how many of you have felt that too? You're doing the affirmations and you're being all positive and you're still stuck, and you're doing the vision boards and you're doing visioning and you're in the healing circles and you're still stuck on something or some area of your life. You're not having breakthroughs that you want, that you were promised from the all positives camp that it would work. And well, Abraham said it, law of attraction. You must be what you want to be. See, what's happening in those circles, and I've talked about this on another podcast about, you can refer to the podcast on what the love and light movement, what's wrong with the love and light movement. But what you end up doing is spiritual bypassing. I've talked about this too. But here's what I want to say. After about 10 years of that stuff, I'll never forget this. I was in my car. It was about 10:30 at night. I was in Florida. So this had to be like, I remember I had just moved to Florida. So I was feeling very optimistic about my move, but I was still lingering in the energy of like, I've been trying everything. So I had left Los Angeles. I was in Florida. I'm in my car. I'm in a Publix, which is a grocery store here, shopping center. It's closed. I get in the car and I'm just like, it's pitch dark out. There's no one around. And I was just having like a breakdown. Like, I don't know what brought it on, but I remember that moment. And I was just screaming in the car at basically Abraham and Abraham Hicks. And I mean, I knew that they weren't there, right? And I was saying, I've done what you've said to do, and I'm tired of waiting. And why don't you tell people about the rest of it? Why don't you tell people about the karmic part? Like, why is it that that's your solution, just to be positive, law of attraction? And in my emotional upset at that time, almost, it was pretty wild, like not out of the blue, but in the stillness and the silence where I would let go, I could hear Abraham come through as a collective. And I didn't even believe that it was them. And it was in the voice almost of Esther Hicks. And I asked, like, how can this be? Of course I asked. And they would say, well, we're just giving to you in this voice that you can recognize so you know it's us. And then they would change their voice as they're communicating to me. Just, it's not her as a human, it's us as a collective. And so the voice and the tonality would change, but it was the same message. What they were saying was, we came through during that time because we knew that we could reach the most number of people with one unifying message that was and is a real and important message, and that would motivate and inspire people to change from within. And we are still doing that. However, we are aware that there is much more to it, and that eventually people like you would reach the upper limits of what we could offer and would seek more. And that would further inspire beings like you who are seeking more to go beyond what we are offering and to make that available to others in your own growth and evolution. And that was me. They were speaking to me. I totally got it. And I was just so floored. And I'm sort of cutting through the story right now, but it was so powerful for me. I really got it. It was like, they gave what they needed to give so that they could reach the most number of people with a unifying message and inspire change, positive change. And they knew that people would need more beyond that at a certain point, but those people would seek more, and eventually that would expand and up level beyond that as well. And I was so grateful. I mean, after that exchange, which in my car, after the emotional volatility, it lasted for a little while in the stillness of me just being with them. And by the way, the energy was beautiful, really up leveled me into peace and harmony and acceptance through me receiving that awareness and that consciousness and that dialogue with that collective known as Abraham, who we all know, like, and trust. The other thing they said, by the way, was at the time they were coming into this physical reality as a collective, that was as much as they could bring forward because there were agreements. I'm not going to go too far off here, but with the so-called dark agenda that would not allow them to bring forward more. It was interesting. Now, I don't know, like, I know more of the ins and outs, but I don't know necessarily how to communicate all of that in one short sentence. But they brought through what they were able to bring through. In those moments of them clarifying that for me, I experienced so much inner peace and acceptance and my own personal up-levelment because I realized, like, okay, finally, they're agreeing with me. Like, I needed that in that moment to help me realize I wasn't going insane because I had tried everything, because I had done everything, because I had done all positives, because I had done all the affirmations, because I had done all the seeing the higher perspective, because I had taken the high road so many times, because I had done so much of my own energy healing and, been in so many healing circles. And to finally kind of get that validation, like, we know there's more. We know that you have to still break through karmic stuff. You still have to work through sacred contracts. You still have to work through all kinds of issues in your field that are going to need to somehow be resolved. That validation helped me so much. So as I go into this topic area of what channels don't know and won't tell you, I just want to say that that's not something that's shared publicly. We know there's more and you're going to have to work on other things. That's just not what that channel brings through. But I want to offer you some compassion and understanding if you're a person who has felt many times that you've hit your own road, glass ceiling or your own upper limits, and you're seeking beyond what you've heard in the mainstream or even on the fringe or even in those all positive groups or even in the like Louise Hay circles, or even if you've been listening to channels and you're still recognizing that there's something more or beyond that. That's my realm because I go deeper and beyond that stuff, right? Beyond that surface level stuff, which to most people isn't surface level. So that's the first thing. I just want to offer you that and let you know that there is more and there are other solutions that are beyond what's currently known and available. And that if affirmations and basic hypnosis and mindset shifting and general healing like Reiki or Theta or something along those lines hasn't worked for you, I promise you it can get better. I promise you there's something more. And there are solutions that just aren't widely known or out there. I recently had someone in one of my empathic sensitivity classes, and she was saying, I had never worked with her before, but she was sharing about some of the physical health challenges and that she had tried 20 years with doctors and they weren't able to identify anything that was going on. And she had tried all these healing modalities that were offering her some help. Tapping. I love tapping. It's a great tool, but it also will only get you so far. Rapid eye movement stuff she had done, like a lot of stuff to help her. But she was still in the physical health challenges, even though it had alleviated some of the symptoms. And she was like, I really don't know what the root of it is. And I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can help you with it. Give me a couple minutes here. I'm pretty good at this stuff. And I mean, in 10 seconds, for me, it was like, oh, that's what she's been struggling with all these years. That's why she's struggling all these years with this stuff. And I can get to it in 10 seconds. And then if you give me another hour or two, we can clear a lot of that, because that's why the people who can go deeper. Now I understand why I had all those challenges because it helped me to be able to go deeper, to get to depths that surface level solutions don't provide, and mainstream or even fringe teachings, on the fringe don't provide. And what this has enabled me to do is to 10x how I can serve my community and then help them to 10x how they serve their community. Because the people I work with are evolutionary leaders who are here to make global impact and have done great work in the world and who are truly contributing massively and who know they want to make global impact and leave lasting legacy and really contribute to the positive upliftment of humanity and are highly, deeply motivated and inspired to be of service and contribution and to make a great difference. And they want their clients and their students and their community to get great results, right? So that was just an incredible moment for me, right? I mean, it was more than a moment. I was in that car for quite a while. Like I remember when I finally got home, and it was like 2 minutes from my house. It was 12:30. So it was something in the span of 2 hours of time, like in that state, right? In the silence of my car in a parking lot. In any case, it was pretty amazing, right? But I want to tell you that what most channels don't know is that they're channeling beings from the astral realm. And that's a hard concept to imagine, that channels that you know, like, and trust might not be channeling who they say they're channeling. I'm not saying this is true of Abraham, of course. I'm not saying that of Abraham, but I'm saying that a lot of channels think or believe they're channeling someone who they aren't necessarily, because that's the frequency bandwidth that their consciousness can access. And there's a lot of beings in the non-physical world who will say that they're one being or another who aren't necessarily who they are. This becomes a discernment. And maybe this is a little too progressed for this conversation right now. Maybe it's something I might be better to bring forward in a future episode to go deeper with it. However, what I'm offering you here is that there's always something deeper and beyond what is being revealed on the surface. There's always something else that can take you beyond where you might be perceiving or receiving information or energy at this current level. And whatever that is that's beyond or deeper is going to expand and up-level you even greater. And as an evolutionary leader, that's going to mean that you have insight, information, clarity, and guidance that is going to serve you in your work, in your service, in your contribution, even more magnificently, and help you to help those you're meant to help and serve, even beyond where you currently perceive you can. Because what's available to us now is so much greater than what has been available to us in the past. I hope this makes sense. I will definitely share more about this in the future because I realize I've just barely begun to scratch the surface. And I'll do another part in the future, so another part about what channelers don't know or can't tell you. But I did want to share this part because I'm deeply grateful for that experience, for everything I received from Abraham Hicks, and other amazing channelers too. And yet I absolutely know, absolutely am certain that there's so much more, that there's better for us, for all of us, and for humanity, to give us greater clarity, greater insight, greater navigation tools, greater abilities and talents to function in a higher and better way, in an elevated way, in this physical world that we're existing in, and to experience a greater richness and fullness that is so far beyond what we're currently playing with, right? The mediocrity that we've been accustomed to, and so far beyond even what's starting to be considered normal, like law of attraction. There's so much more. It's so much deeper. In fact, I'd love to do another episode at some point about universal laws too, and go deeper into that to offer you guys greater insight. All right. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to sign off for now. And I'm wishing you your most benevolent best. As always, please take what serves you. And please, if this episode has been helpful to you, please share it. Please share it and help others to learn about this too, because I know that what I'm offering, it's on the fringe of the fringe. It's not stuff in the mainstream. And it helps when other people get to learn about this stuff. And it certainly helps me to be of service and contribution in a greater way as well. And sharing is caring. All right. With that, I'm signing off for now. I'm sending you so much love. I'm wishing you your most benevolent best. And I'm sending you so much gratitude for the service and contribution in the world that you are sharing and contributing as a visionary light leader and an evolutionary leader. All right. Farewell for now. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening today. If you loved the show and if you benefited in any way, if it helped you to up-level or expand your consciousness, if you gained any new insights or ideas, if it made you think or become more aware, or if there were some strategies or intuition that you may have benefited from in any way, would you please do me 2 easy and simple favors? First, if you would be willing to leave a review, it would mean the world to me. I'd be so grateful. And second, if you're willing to share this show with anyone else who would benefit, you can either post it on your social media or just email it to someone and share it with another person or any other people. It would be so awesome. This kind of thing is so helpful in expanding consciousness on the planet and helping others to benefit from this kind of teaching, which just simply isn't generally readily available in the mainstream. So sharing it really helps others benefit and helps our planet evolve and awaken. Plus, expressing gratitude and generosity in this way will also expand your capacity to give and receive even more. Either way, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for participating and for sharing, and overall, just for being the magnificent, the spectacular, the brilliant, the fabulous, the wonderful you that you truly are, and for allowing yourself to be the very best version of you today and every day. All my love and gratitude to you.